There's a brand new trailer for Suicide Squad, which is coming out soon. A lot of people are really excited for it, including ourselves. This is Francis Maxwell, Johnnie Jungleguts, Meredith Placko, and myself, Kim Horcher. Let's take a look at the trailer, and then let's talk about it.
Seriously, what the hell's wrong with you people?
We're bad guys. It's what we do.
Okay, there's a lot going on in this trailer.
There is.
I'm getting big Guardians of the Galaxy vibes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fun, taking fun risks.
Thank you, DC. Thank you for that.
It's completely opposite from what we've seen with the first trailer, right? It was very dark, mysterious. I love that aspect of it, but any trailer that's got Bohemian Rhapsody in it, I'm going to take serious. And I seen a comment, someone was like, what, the Queen, that song came out in the 80s, could they not find a new track? I was like, who are you?
It's
Who's that person that said that?
Overplayed, maybe. The greatest song of all time.
Oh, I would agree.
Maybe.
I'm really excited because I think this is a different take for DC, and I really think that maybe they listened to fan feedback from the first trailer, and this means that they're taking a different direction with their films, and I'm excited. And I wasn't super stoked about the first Suicide Squad trailer, and now I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm going to give this movie a shot.
We did get some quick introductions of characters who are maybe lesser known, including El Diablo, Enchantress, like, oh, you've got a witch inside you? This guy starts fires. Though we do know quite a bit more about characters such as Harley Quinn and Joker. I don't know if Deadshot is a mainstream character yet or not, but a lot of people have complaints about how we are introduced to Harley Quinn, which is closer to the New 52 origin than we may have seen from Mad Love, which is her classic origin from Batman the Animated Series, as well as a comic version of that. But she did come from Batman the Animated Series originally, and that was, I think it's one of the most iconic episodes or storylines I've ever experienced.
Especially for the time. You think the 90s, it's very different for, the animated series was dark. It was super dark for its time.
I liked it.
I know, I loved it. And it's kind of what drew me to the Batman stories to begin with. And we see Harley Quinn as a psychiatrist at Arkham, and
she's a doctor.
She's a doctor. She is a doctor, and she is treating the Joker and slowly starts to come underneath his spell, if you will, and through that she, almost in many ways, she falls for him, and in a way that
it's just such
PTSD.
a unique storyline. And then we watch Arlene Sorkin, who's the original voice actress,
Amazing.
kind of devolve. Like first she talks like, "Hello, I'm Dr. Harleen Quinzel," and later she gets that classic Harley voice after a while, and you understand who she is and what's happened, and that she's created this new person almost.
Yeah.
I just feel like the people, I read a lot of the thoughts online and how people are saying that they're just over-sexualizing Harley Quinn, and I think that
New 52,
that's what I'm saying. It's on par with that, plus it's on par with who you have playing it. Margot Robbie is hands down one of the most, I would say, sought-after actresses today, and they're definitely playing into their strengths with that, but I feel like most of these, the last two trailers, have been her show. I think that it's been focused around what she's taken to this role. I'm personally excited to see the characters that we've seen her play so far have been kind of one-dimensional. I'm excited to see how her as an actress would take this further. And I think that it's just, to complain about that, as you just mentioned, look into the origins a little bit, I think it falls in suit. It's not overly dramatic, but at the same time that's what people are expecting to see from this character. So I think it wasn't surprising to me.
It's not a surprise,
no.
But it's a little disappointing, I would say,
it could
because we just know how great and meaty that
Well, more so than
storyline
anything else,
is.
I think Enchantress, more than anything else, seems more sexualized than what we've seen her. In that trailer, you see Cara Delevingne showing, in comparison, you see someone like Killer Croc, who's fully clothed, when in the comics, we rarely see him with any clothes on. So it seems like they were taking that side of it and applying it to Enchantress. But I'm still on board.
If we're using the argument of it's in line with the comics, Killer Croc does seem a little different.
I think the one nice thing about Harley, though, is that even though she is this girl sort of controlled by a man, they bring in Poison Ivy, and there's this great feminist storyline that comes with their relationship, which is so special and so beautiful. And I really hope that she can sort of start to figure out who she is as an individual villain in the world through this movie. I think the secret weapon of this movie, based on this trailer, might be Captain Boomerang, with every sort of confused, belligerent shout he did in that trailer. I was laughing when he's stumbling around drinking a beer. I mean, that was just pure comedy to me. I really enjoyed that.
But yeah, sorry, on Captain Boomerang.
It's kind of a joke. I mean, in general, among like fans, it's like, oh,
Well, it's because
who's
Jai
the most
Courtney.
ridiculous person?
People think Jai Courtney is the most overpaid actor in Hollywood. I personally don't think he's that bad, but at the same time, as people who hold like the comic book characters so close to the heart, when you see someone who they don't exactly want to be portraying that character, it's often easy to just disregard.
And that's kind of the problem with comics to films in general, is that, you know, people see these stories that they grew up with, and it's hard to see that change, because the truth about comic book movies, they're not made for comic book fans. They're made for the mass audiences. And I hate to say that as someone who loves to see these characters come to life, but I also like to see new stories come out of that. That's why I love what Marvel's been doing, because, you know, I'm seeing my favorite characters come to life in all new, all different ways. And I think with Suicide Squad, it's making a story that maybe I didn't really care so much in the comics. I'm going to love the film adaptation.
Yeah.
And real quick, one quick thing on Harley, I do want to say, like, I love Margot Robbie, and I'm excited about her as Harley Quinn. And also, what we see in the trailer, yes, we see her in the vat. We see her getting the white skin, the hair from Joker. We see Joker diving in. We don't necessarily know if he pushed her in like we saw in the New 52. We don't exactly know the full circumstances. Chances are it is, but I'm not going to make a call based on a trailer and not seeing the full scene. That's just kind of the way I have to start looking at films, is I'm not going to judge a book by its cover.
Yeah, and as I mentioned before in all of our reviews, The Flash and everything else, I think I'm new to the comic book versions of it, and I try to get up to date on the knowledge. But when it comes from, like, when I review films or anything back home, I look at who's creating the films, and I look at who's going to be portraying this story. David Ayer, for me, has created some of the movies that I have valued so much. Like End of Watch, many people didn't expect to be like anything of a great movie. I think that, for me, that portrayed Jake Gyllenhaal and helped push him forward as an actor. I loved that movie. I loved Fury when many people didn't. And of course, classics like Training Day. This guy knows what to do with movies. He knows what to do with storylines. And I'm excited to see how he takes this sort of movie that we've never seen before, really, and try and portray it in a different light. And I'm anxious, because both sides of these trailers have portrayed it in such a serious light. It's going to be something like, oh, this is going to be dark and mysterious. Some of these characters that we've seen in the comics are really dark characters. How do they bring that to the mainstream light? And then on the other side, they're going to have a lot of fun with it.
And I also want to hand it to DC. You know, this is one of the most diverse casts we've seen in a superhero or villain film. We've got 4 women in central roles. We have more people of color than I can count in a superhero film that's ever been. And a problem with DC Comics as a whole, in the DC brand, is kind of their lack of diversity, and especially their treatment of women, their lack of portrayal. So I think this is a huge, huge, huge step forward. And for a lot of people who have really honest complaints about the company as a whole, I think they're doing a great job to address this, and I think their casting choices have been fantastic, and I'm really excited about that, because it shows progress within the company and progress within Hollywood.
Now, speaking of casting choices, how are you guys feeling about this Joker, Jared Leto?
So this is one of the first times we've got to see Jared Leto as the Joker speak any lines. You know, this is. We haven't seen that much from him.
Really, still not a lot. I mean,
there are many different portrayals of the Joker. I mean, what makes the Joker so fun is that he doesn't really have a solid backstory. He doesn't have an alter ego. It's very intriguing. I mean, when you look at DC animated movies that they release, the Joker is a little bit different in each one, and they use different actors to portray him. I mean, you've seen versions where he's clownish. You see versions where he's straight up a psychotic murderer. You see ones where he likes to play with Batman. I'm not sure which one this one is yet.
Well, looking at the history of things, like when I seen the first trailer for The Dark Knight, I wasn't sure on and I think many people online, when you look at it, were all like, we weren't sure like what Heath Ledger was going to bring to that character. He made it his own. I think they're doing the right thing by taking this to a different direction. You try to portray him very similar to that, I think you're going to be fighting a losing battle. I think they're taking it, that kind of clownish look, very over the top. But the lines, I don't know, like, I like the trailer. I like that how much Jared Leto has more to say in it. But there was something about that first trailer, something about the way they portrayed Jared Leto that was chilling to me. Like at that one line, like, I'm not going to kill you, but I'm going to hurt you very, very bad. I didn't want to see more. I didn't want to see more from the Joker. I wanted just to see the movie after that, because I was so captivated by how he just said that one line. And I think there's certain people that are excited, but there's a lot of critics who think that the way that they're going to portray him isn't going to do it justice. But from what I've seen, I'm definitely interested.
Oh, go on.
I mean, I thought that line personally was like a little corny, but the thing is, the Joker, every single portrayal of the Joker, filmic portrayal, has been so good so far. I mean, Jack Nicholson, even Mark Hamill, Heath Ledger, especially Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill may be the greatest Joker. Even Cesar Romero, I think, was so memorable as the Joker in the '60s. So Jared Leto has such huge shoes to fill, and maybe I'm judging him a little too harshly.
I am kind of the camp that Jared Leto is not the Joker that we know. You know, going into like comic book lore and going into the video game lore, I actually think we're gonna see that he's not the Joker that we know, and he might be another character that hasn't been introduced in the film world yet, but has some very close ties to Batman.
One that's very popular in recent games and comic book lines, and maybe some other theories. Look it up. We're not going to spoil it for you. So was there anything else that really stuck out to any of you? Good or bad?
I thought this one's pretty comical. I liked it how every one of them had, in their own way, were just like fighting every single decision. Like we see Jai Courtney be brought into that one, and he just screams and just punches someone. Will Smith taking on an entourage of officers. I think that it's just going to be, it's going to be dark. It's going to be mysterious, but it's also going to just provide some humor with the battle between law enforcers and trying to get them to try and do something good. And that for me, no matter how they portray it, it's always going to get the tickets. It's always going to get me there.
DC has been facing a lot of criticism is that they're overly serious and self-important with their movies. But this one, you know, maybe this isn't an indicator that they are taking a different direction and maybe taking some hints and cues. And I think it looks pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Pretty good. That shot of the helicopter shooting off some missiles, it's very rare that my breath is taken away by special effects, but that moment really stuck with me.
Yeah, it's what I expected as well. Speaking of David Dale, the editing, the sound, everything just went in cue. I think that everything was good to see that go from the one extreme to the other. The first trailer, I do like that dark side that DC take, but when you see Marvel in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, just they portray this camaraderie with the Avengers and these teams working together. And if you're going to compete, this is the best way to do it. Rather than, like, I understand Batman and Superman, everyone is going to be excited to see it, but this is taking a group of just misfits and putting them into a team and see how they fit.
This is the dark horse, you know, that they needed. And I'm actually really excited about Will Smith's character because, you know, he's kind of like the one sort of normal guy.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
He's like, what am I?
I think Katana is actually here on her own will,
She
right?
is, but Will Smith is kind of like, here's all these people with really crazy like powers or instability, and his whole motivation is that he just wants to wipe his slate clean so he can go back to his adopted daughter and live a normal life.
Yeah,
you know,
and I guess we need one normal guy.
I know, but I kind of like that's Will Smith because just given his history and stuff, and I like him. You know what I'd like to see though is for every movie Will Smith is in, he needs to get back to making a song for that film. So can we please have that, please?
Another Men in Black, another Wild Wild West.
Oh my, exactly. So can we get our Suicide Squad song, please?
I'm excited. Yeah.
I was trying to think of a way to take that song. I'm not going to sing. Audience, Suicide Squad comes out August 5th. I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot more about it before that release date. Let us know what you think. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.